Welcome to Perspective, where we explore timeless wisdom for modern life. Today, we're diving into one of our most challenging emotions, anger. Anger can cloud our judgment, damage relationships, and disrupt our peace of mind, whether it's a small irritation or an overwhelming rage. But what if you could learn to control it, not through suppression, but by transforming your response? The ancient Stoics, masters of emotional resilience, believed that anger was an irrational emotion, one we can learn to manage with the right mindset and practices. In this video, we'll explore 6 powerful Stoic principles to help you master your anger and find lasting peace. Let's begin the journey to inner calm. Chapter 1. Recognize the first spark of anger. Anger, like a fire, starts with a spark. The Stoics, especially Seneca, emphasized that the key to controlling anger is recognizing it in its earliest form. Before anger turns into full-blown rage, there is always a moment where we feel the first flicker. Maybe it's a feeling of frustration, an irritated thought, or a small injustice. The problem is that most of us let this spark ignite. We fan the flames by reacting immediately, without pausing to understand what's happening. The Stoics teach us to step back and observe our initial reaction. Ask yourself, what is triggering this emotion? Is it really worth my peace of mind? By becoming aware of this early stage, you can prevent anger from escalating. The goal is not to suppress or deny your feelings, but to catch them before they spiral out of control. Mindfulness of the first spark allows you to choose how to respond rather than being swept away by your emotions. The next time you feel that initial frustration, pause. Take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment to think. This simple act of recognizing the first spark can be the difference between calm and chaos. Chapter 2. Control your perception. Control your response. In the Stoic philosophy, perception is everything. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic thinker, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Events in life are neutral. It's our perception of them that determines whether we become angry or stay calm. When something triggers your anger, it's not the event itself that causes your emotional response, but the story you tell yourself about it. Did someone cut you off in traffic? You might think they did it deliberately to annoy you, and that's why you're angry. But what if you reframed your perception? What if you considered that they might be rushing to an emergency or simply made a mistake? By changing your perspective, you can change your emotional response. The Stoics remind us that we have the power to choose how we interpret situations. When you feel anger rising, stop and challenge your thoughts. Is your perception accurate? Could there be another explanation for what's happening? By controlling your perception, you control your response. This principle is a cornerstone of Stoic emotional resilience, helping you remain calm in the face of life's provocation. Chapter 3. Practice voluntary discomfort. One of the more unique Stoic practices is voluntary discomfort, purposely putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to build resilience. While this may seem unrelated to anger, it's actually one of the most effective ways to build emotional control. When you expose yourself to discomfort voluntarily, you train your mind to remain calm in difficult situations, making it easier to handle unexpected challenges with grace. Anger often arises when we feel out of control or uncomfortable. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you learn to remain composed, even when things don't go your way. This could mean fasting for a day, taking a cold shower, or practicing silence in stressful environment. These small acts of discomfort condition your mind to stay centered when bigger challenges arise. When you regularly face discomfort on your own terms, you become less reactive when life throws challenges your way. You're no longer shocked or angered by adversity. Instead, you approach it with the calmness of someone who has already endured and overcome difficulty. Try incorporating small, voluntary challenges into your life. You'll notice that when something unexpected frustrates or angers you, your emotional response will be more measured, as if you've already practiced keeping your cool. Chapter 4. Delay your response. Anger thrives on immediacy. When we react in the heat of the moment, we often say or do things we later regret. The Stoics taught that one of the simplest ways to manage anger is to delay your response. This practice is not about avoiding the issue, but about giving yourself time to respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. Marcus Aurelius advised that when you feel anger rising, take a step back. Give yourself space and delay your reaction. This delay allows your rational mind to catch up with your emotional impulses. Often, in the time you take to pause, the intensity of your anger diminishes, and you can think more clearly. This can be as simple as counting to 10, walking away from the situation for a few minutes, or even sleeping on it if the situation allows. By giving yourself time, you prevent your emotions from dictating your actions, which leads to more constructive outcomes. The next time you feel your temper flaring, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, delay your response and notice how much calmer and more in control you feel. Chapter 5. Practice empathy and forgiveness. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for controlling anger is developing empathy and practicing forgiveness. Seneca taught that anger often arises from misunderstanding and unmet expectation. When we expect perfection from others and they fall short, we become angry. But the truth is, everyone is struggling with their own challenges, flaws, and emotions. By practicing empathy, you can shift your perspective. Instead of seeing the person who wronged you as an enemy, consider their humanity. Could they be acting out of fear, ignorance, or insecurity? When you see others as fellow human beings, you're less likely to become angry and more likely to respond with understanding. Forgiveness follows naturally from empathy. Holding on to anger only harms you, not the other person. The Stoics remind us that forgiveness is not about condoning bad behavior, but about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. Letting go of grudges clears your mind and restores your peace. When someone wrongs you, practice empathy first. Try to understand their perspective, and then offer forgiveness not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Chapter 6. Reflect on the impermanence of life. The Stoics often meditated on the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that life is short and death could come at any moment. While this may sound morbid, it's actually a liberating practice that can help you control anger. When you realize how temporary life is, many of the things that make you angry seem insignificant. Why waste precious moments of your life consumed by anger? Is the person who wronged you worth sacrificing your peace of mind? By reflecting on life's brevity, you gain a broader perspective. The things that once seemed like major provocations start to feel trivial in the grand scheme of things. This doesn't mean you should become indifferent to life's challenges, but rather that you should choose your battles wisely. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Most of the time, the answer is no. By embracing the Stoic idea of impermanence, you can let go of petty frustrations and keep your mind focused on what truly matters. Outgrow. Thank you for joining Perspective on this journey to mastering your anger through Stoic wisdom. By recognizing the first spark of anger, controlling your perception, practicing voluntary discomfort, delaying your response, cultivating empathy, and reflecting on life's impermanence, you can find calm in even the most frustrating situations. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to Perspective for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. Remember, the power to control your anger lies within you through thoughtful practice. You can transform your mind and live a more peaceful life.